fire.
Well, y'all, I am going to get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Zoomers. Welcome, people who are here in this Sunday salon. And the crowd is here. The gang is here, as I told. Some of us are. Dave, let's see, I'm going to mute you. And but raise your hand if you need to make a comment. we'll let you. Let's see, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pin myself, and then I can do that. Okie doke. So, all right, it's going to be a hot day. We are now in the center of the heat dome, so I bet this sign is kind of disheartening. We're in fire and brimstone. No, not really. We're a Unity Church. We are Unity of Little Rock. We don't give any credence to that. So today, though, we do have the third in our series. It's elemental, and so just sort of like the movie Pam and I were talking about. There's a new Disney movie out, Elemental. It's very cute.
I bet there can be some metaphysics in there too.
Yeah, there is. But Russ started with the air we breathe, and last week I added the earth we are birthed and rooted in. And today, fire, our sacred gift and sacred responsibility. And what happened is we were going to do water, and Beverly was going to be here. Beverly got COVID last weekend. She's doing much, much better, but we know that there's a lot of COVID around lately. So in an abundance of caution, she stayed home. However, we've been talking, and she and I together, she's been sending me resources, been very helpful. And Beverly, if you're out there in Zoom land, feel better and get back soon. We want to have you here next week.
That's right.
Yeah. So, well, let's just get on our elemental journey here. You know, there's the four elements. Now I'm gonna dare to do this. I like to embody these elements, and so this is going to be very short, and you don't have to do it with me. So I want to move. I want to get the energy in me, and I'm going to do something for all four elements. Ooh, take a breath with me. You can do that. And I scoop the energy from the earth. I scoop in the energy, the chi energy coming in, and then I flick my little energy up and around, and I part the clouds in the heavens, the air, and then I float. And we are ready. And so it is. We're ready.
That was Tai Chi, or Qigong.
Yeah, it is. It is. Woo, I do feel energized now, and that's for staying up late too. That's good. So I'm beginning to feel that fire, that energy rising in me. And let us together say our opening statement. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the source of all good. Today's daily word is understanding, and it's kind of interesting. It's the coolest thing that I've shown you yet. I keep my cool in mind and body. You see, we're going to be exploring all the dimensions of fire, and one of the things about fire is you're impulsive and fiery, and maybe you react when you really want to respond. So what do we do to get that responsiveness? We use our understanding, I keep my cool in body and mind. Understanding is an innate power in everyone. It is used to know, comprehend, and perceive. Seeking to understand provides information and insight which eases my reactivity. In any agitating circumstance, I practice understanding to remain calm. If I'm tempted to lose my cool, I remember this power of understanding. It's a divine power beyond my beliefs and all my little quirks and all my preferences. I understand. I comprehend how to keep my emotional thermostat dialed down. So I combine my power of understanding with strength and omnipresence to be a beacon of light in times of trouble and crisis. Whatever this day may bring, I always carry the light of understanding with me. I thought that really ended up being kind of a neat juxtaposition on the theme for today. So let's take that to prayer. We start in our hearts, opening up, relaxing, breathing. I open to this bright, beautiful day, to the gifts of spirit, as I am reminded of the sacred gift of fire and all the responsibilities that come with it. I open to the burning flames that may consume my judgments, my self-righteousness, and old wounds of preferences. God is life, love, understanding, and release. And I claim these divine powers for me. I sizzle with zeal to do what is mine to do. As our earth deals with the destructive power of extreme times, whether it be human or the natural disasters, we can learn and do better as we claim our divine nature and live authentically from that place. We pray from the other side of the problem, holding that, even if we're watching the news or reading about something or even experiencing it personally. We remember that we are whole and held in the love of the universe. We appreciate and are grateful for the truth principles here at Unity, for the community we have, whether it's on Zoom or a small audience in this Sunday salon. We stand here to be a beacon of light in our little community, but we know that our prayerful energy extends way beyond, out and out and out, changing the vibration in the universe. We are grateful for this time together and for this prayer. And so it is, and so it is. Now, the song this morning, normally we kind of ease into after prayer, but Beverly chose something which is a little more upbeat. And it'll make me dance, maybe you too. So it's really fun. It's by Karen Drucker, Keep That Passion Burning. Oh man, okay. Well, as I said, our talks today, well see, I've really got my energy up now. It's fire, it's a sacred gift, and it's a sacred responsibility. And as you can see, I've got my cards. I'll get them out in a bit, but I've got the cards that go with this. And there were several cards that fit the fire gods and all the fire energy that we have. And it really went with the sacred geometry, so that'll kind of be a backbone of the talk. But I tell you, when I found out Thursday I was going to do this talk, I said, oh my goodness, I'm not ready for this. And then Beverly sent a few things, and before you know it, I was flooded with ideas. My imagination flamed, if you will, and I probably had way more. I know I've left stuff off, but it was a lot of fun to really do this talk. So, now, one of the important things that Russ and I have been emphasizing is connection. And that's our theme for this year. I am connected. So Russ said, okay, the air molecules from way back when, they're still here. We breathe some of the same molecules, he said, that have been released and breathed by others. So we are always connected. And breath is such a common thing for all of us. We all must breathe to live. And last week with the earth element, the real connecting mother is the soil. The soil that we carry as our bodies. The very body that you carry right now has been millions of bodies, be it insect, snake, cow, monkey, or human being. So we are connected in that way. Now what about fire? Well, that was a little different for me. From my research, I think we are connected through the story of fire. It is so interwoven in the story of humanity. Because think about it, with that discovery, whoever sparked that first twig changed everything. All ancient cultures have folktale or mythology about stealing the fire from the gods, or fire deities, or even fire ceremonies. Even we at Unity have a very important fire ceremony. I'm sure you remember. So, one of the first one that you may remember is Prometheus. Good old Prometheus. He was a titan, and he got really mad at the Greek gods and stole fire from Mount Olympus and gave it to mankind. Well, he got in a lot of trouble for this. Now, there were pictures of this, but I didn't put this on here. He got in so much trouble that they chained him to a rock and let the eagles eat out his liver. And it would, isn't that horrible? And it would heal every night so that they could do it all over again the next day. Oh, wow, that's an angry set of gods. But according to several major versions of the myth, Prometheus was eventually freed by someone. Now, in the Western tradition, Prometheus became a figure who represented human striving, particularly for the quest of scientific knowledge, and the risk of overreaching or unintended consequences. So in particular, he was regarded as embodying the lone genius whose efforts to improve human existence could also result in tragedy. And last night my son reminded me that in the movie Oppenheimer, Oppenheimer was responsible for the atomic bomb, and at the very beginning they bring up Prometheus. And fire was one of those first great discoveries. Well, at the next level was this atomic energy. And you realize, you see, fire is both fascinating and wonderful, but it's destructive. So with all these gifts, it is up to us to know how to use them. We do have a sacred responsibility. Now, not only the Greeks, but even the the Native Americans had a lore about stealing fire. They say that they used animal spirits a lot rather than the gods like in Mount Olympus. So they said that dog, coyote, and beaver were the ones that stole fire. The Cherokees talk about Grandmother Spider, and they say that she stole fire from the sun, put it in a clay pot, and gave it to man so that he could see in the dark. And it even appears in the Hindu text, the Rig Veda, as a hero that steals fire. But whatever the culture, mankind shares a complicated relationship with fire. And I got to thinking about this. Now these are just, I'm going to say F words, but they're good at, okay. So we've got fire. It's fascinating. It's ferocious. It's flaming. It's flickering. It has fervor. It is fuel. It is feverish. And then it's the furnace, in the furnace of the inferno, perhaps. So all kinds of words, and I could have gone past F in the alphabet and thought of many, many more about fire. And it was just amazing how many I kind of came up with, so I had to create that wordle. But let's think about it. Let's think about this story of fire. So go back in the time before time. Our ancestors lived in a vast, mysterious world. They probably didn't understand, the dangers and all what lay ahead of them. They were just trying to survive, right? They also felt very much though a part of creation. Like they didn't feel like, I'm above an animal, any other animal. We're just all creatures. Mankind moved through this primal wilderness just like all the other animals, though we lacked their gifts for warm fur, fast legs, sharp fangs, and powerful wings, because we had not discovered our gift yet. We roamed the land, nourished and challenged by nature's cycles of life and death, just like every other creature. Then something amazing happened that would change mankind's life forever. Fire. Our relationship with fire changed us. Fire lit the darkness, warmed the cold, and cooked our food. And there was something more. We began to gather in a circle around the fire. We started building community, maybe at just a tribal, primal level, but we were building something different. We were starting to live in a new way. So instead of living in the immediate flow of the world like the rest of creation, we were able to step back and reflect. Oh, we had a mind. We had a consciousness. We could be aware. We could think about how to do things differently and better. We could make plans and coordinate actions. We could think about the future. Now I'm studying the evolution of the Bible, and you start to see this in the writings where the J writer, they say, they started thinking of a future and planning. It really is, you can see this journey in the Bible. Starting out very tribal though, okay? But then as society progresses, we continue to raise consciousness, and then we kind of get a law and order, and we get leaders. We're not just, one group. And this new awareness, our new mind, it was endlessly creative, because it's starting to tap into divine mind, which is all possibilities. We made different types of shelter and clothing, and hunted with new tools and grew crops. We were successful through means unavailable to the other animals. Now, do any of you remember the movie 2001: A Space Oddity?
Yeah.
Do you remember when the ape picks up the old bone and realizes it's a weapon?
Yes.
See, that's another thing that comes along. We began to have real control. So this gift of the mind came with a price. Self-reflection split us apart from our mysterious living relationship with the rest of creation. The powerful voice of the mind began to make choices based on its own agenda. People started feeling disconnected from one another. We started taking actions without considering the whole world's other beings and the other things in our world. We began to forget who we are as part of nature's spirit, and we were maybe kind of forgetting our own divine nature. The result was extraordinary suffering and the destruction of beings. You know, this tale, this story, this reminded me of the Garden of Eden. And of course, in the garden, in that story, there is the snake, and it was knowledge. Remember, they bit into the apple, and that's sort of what this reminded me of. So there we are. Fire is complicated. It's ferocious. It's destructive, but it's wonderful.
It's transformation.
It is, and we're going to get into that. We want to get into, okay, what can we do with it? I want to read you a poem, and I gave everybody a copy. So everyone has their own copy to take home, and I'm going to read Cheryl Harkin's poem. And for those of you out in Zoom land, I will email you a copy of this, because I'm reading 2 poems today. We're bookending it with the poetry. And this is just such a beautiful poem that Beverly sent me. It's one of her favorite poets. And I almost wanted to use it as the prayer. It is very prayerful. So listen to this. God, kindle love in me, in my fibers and bones. Let my fear be its fuel. Make it bigger and brighter. May it encompass every forlorn part of my past, that collection of dry leaves. Hear me now, life. I want not to hold on any longer to my trove of old wounds, my leveraged sorrows. Give up from me any grudges held against my beautiful mother. Cloak her completely in my adoration. Take from me entirely any sore place in my heart about my blessed Father. Turn my old wounds into love that gives itself back to them for their completion, wholly wizened and renewed. I want to receive love so completely that my only ambition is to be its hollow vessel. I have lived long enough with the pain of being distant from love. My truest and only prayer now is to feel the pain of returning all of me to the consumption of love's holy blaze. Purification and transformation. We're going to be talking about that. By the way, everyone's lit a candle here at Unity, and I did forget to light our... Okay, I wanted to light our Christ candle too. By the way, this is a magic wand for you in Zoom land. We've been having fun with it this morning. So, to light candles. Hope that burns. Okay. So, like I say, with fire, there are great gifts and responsibility. So what are the gifts and what are the responsibilities? Well, first I take you to this card that was on the my title slide. This is the fire keepers. And you know, back in the ancient cultures, can you imagine? You couldn't let the fire go out. It was that important. And even if they traveled, somebody had to carry some kind of vessel to keep the fire alive. So the fire keepers have always been important once fire was discovered. They hold that sacred responsibility of service, both for physical survival and also the ceremonial, spiritual protection of the community. So there's three aspects here. We have the physical awareness. So we can become aware of our actions and reactions. And you can ask the question, does your work and service contribute to the welfare of those around you, as well as to your own needs? They're important too. Then there's the intentions of mind and heart. And I'm going to say the union of mind and heart. Engage your mind and reflect on how you contribute to the whole of humanity. And then there's spiritual growth. Explore how your divine nature inspires your service and raises your consciousness. And we know we are fully human and fully divine, and we want to have that divinity aligned with our humanity. This is a card of action. It's calling us to align that divinity, that humanity, and our service with our soul's mission. It is a charge to consciously revitalize the fire of your vision. Keep the fire. And at Unity, we are fire keepers. We claim the 12 powers and practice diligently the 5 principles. We are fully human and fully divine. And a good affirmation is, I have a growing awareness of oneness in my divinity with those I serve and with all of humankind. I have a growing awareness of oneness. I'm going to get the cards out. Let's see. So the table can share the cards. Excuse me. These sacred geometry cards have a lot of energy, so I hope you enjoy the pictures, and I was passing them around. Okay, so purification is also important. So what we have here, this is a really beautiful card. Can you see that there's spirals around the heart? And look, the flames are not only, around this figure, but they're blue flames. Those are the hottest flames, kind of like a gas flame, very hot. And then there's, the spirals keep going up and up and up and up, and there's hearts in several places. The geometry of the golden spiral encourages you to meditate and purify your consciousness. These hearts embrace the energy of divine love, both within the core of our being and also expanding beyond into radiant universal love. This figure sits in meditation, willing to forgive herself and all beings, ready to purify her intentions to live a life of integrity and compassion. The flames consume and burn away all that does not serve and leaves the most loving, compassionate, and kind self. The blue flame burns away ego. So this card encourages us to purify our thoughts, clear our vision. And we know that in Unity, one of our main tools is the meditation and prayer. So we sit in meditation and prayer, and we release old paradigms and any reactions, even also the feelings of guilt and shame, because we must do our work for ourselves as well as others. So forgive yourself and see all notions of unworthiness and shame. See it being burned away in this transforming fire. Let the blue flames burn the cover of anger or resentment or self-righteous stories. A good affirmation: I lift up all the old stuff for purification and step forward into a cleansed, never before lived, brand new day filled with wisdom, understanding, peace, and grace. Now, you know, in Unity, we love this idea of purification. Isn't one of your favorite things the burning bowl? And by the way, I want to remind you that this is a good time. This is mid-year, and I'm going to look in the prayer box at the end of service. We need to mail out any letters that were left here that, you know, we did on the burning bowl. We did that at the very beginning of the year, maybe the very end of 2022. And then some of you may have taken them home. So this is a good time to get out that letter that you wrote after you burned. And I brought, this is one of our favorite things here at Unity, the flash paper. And Angel, I hope I'm in view here. I love doing this, don't y'all? Let's see if it works.
Wow.
Bam. Isn't that fun? Awesome. That's one of our favorite things. Did that go too quick? Okay.
Can I,
Yes, please.
from the very first time that I started reading and studying metaphysics, I've often wondered if the first intention of hell, because as far as was for purification rather than
Oh, that is so wonderful.
Gosh, yeah.
So in Zoomland, if you didn't hear that, Lorraine just said when she started studying metaphysics, she began to wonder if the flames of hell were really a means of purification. And, you know, at Unity, we don't accept heaven and hell like that. You know, it's places outside of us. We believe we're living in the kingdom. But that notion of purification is...
originally that may be what it was meant for, and it
Right.
got distorted into punishment.
It did, and we brought fear into it, didn't we?
Yes.
And we ruled by fear, you know, because there is that fear component to fire. But if we see it on the other side as purification, that's wonderful. Thank you,
Wow,
Brian.
thank you, Ray. That is so awesome.
That was really good.
That was one of the first little things when I started reading all these things that they didn't tell me that.
Yeah, not when we grew up. Nope. You know, and I forgot. I had a photo of us doing the burning bowl ceremony. That's just really one of my very favorite times of year. Okay, I've got another one here. Now this is has Pentagon energy in it. Oh, the Pentagon's a really sacred shape. It really comes from the golden spiral when you learn how to do the geometric construction. There's so much with the Pentagon. And you start seeing Pentagons all over in nature, particularly in flowers, etc. So the five-sided geometry of the Pentagon informs this card, and it speaks of regeneration, which was really very important to Charles Fillmore, our founder in Unity, and transcendence and even excellence. These elements fuel the invitation and directive of this powerful Hawaiian volcano goddess. Can you see her in the background? She is, you know, she's just there, and she has a rainbow over her head, and she presents her summons as energy flowing from this rainbow crown. And at the core of this call is the pentagonal spiraling cosmos. And you can see the stars in the very center. So this card summons you to recognize your personal potential and transcend obstacles to the expression of your life's purpose. Every life holds the promise of excellence and fulfillment. And we believe that in Unity. We are perfect and whole in consciousness. Sometimes we become caught up in life's flow and lose sight of dreams and visions. But it may be helpful to shift your attention to that of the observer so that you may gain a wider perspective of where you are today. Are you following your life's mission? Are Are you purposeful? So here's the affirmation. I have the power to soar in spirit, to transcend myself in all my affairs. Divine power within transcends all appearances. I see beyond the complexity of life. All life flows from divine presence. It is simply all I need. Wow, that's a powerful one. I like that. And we do that. We pray from the other side of the problems. Now, this may mark a time when you're going to challenge yourself and maybe make decisions that just change something very fundamental about you. It could indicate a time of regenerating and renewing faith. And it may help you realize, though, that you're already living your essence, the truth of who you are. It's a summons to excellence and the renewal of truth. And this is another picture, a prettier picture of the volcano goddess. Now, this idea of purification, y'all have heard of the phoenix. You know, the bird, the ancient Greeks described this bird that in its nest, it would, every 500 years, only one phoenix lived at a time. And just before its time was up, the phoenix built a nest and set itself on fire. And then a new phoenix arose from that. I like that symbol. That was real important in Harry Potter. You remember the phoenix. It's a beautiful, fiery image. But it's full of promise and energy. It sort of looks fierce, but
Creation.
yeah.
It's the energy coming up. And
It is. It's just always there. Hey, you know, the core of our very earth is molten lava. Yeah, so, okay. All right, now, going away from Hawaii, we've got a shaman who dances and drums around a fire in the energy of spirit kin. And again, we call on the animal spirits. Mountain lion or puma speaks of strength and courage and transformation. There you see, again, there's spirals. Spirals are, the golden spiral is so important. This card particularly, when I picked it up, I just felt that energy. And it just generates up and up and up and up and up and up. And the courage, how can courage enter your life? It is when we have the confidence to discern the truth and speak it and live it. And that's definitely
my word for the
year.
Courage.
Courage, okay. And it does take courage to speak that truth, but see, we've got to have, we let go of the humanness and go into that divine power of discernment and try to step back and see truth. Courage is transformational, and transformation is courageous. And I didn't have a longer affirmation than that one, but that's a beautiful card. Okay, now I'm going to go back to Hawaii. This is Pele. Now, Pele can be a very fierce goddess. It's very appropriate that she's related to fire, but she also can be very loving. She's the passionate volcano goddess, and she can be seen as powerful, yet selfish and contrary, or sometimes even vengeful. However, she has a passionate, compassionate side, which we see in the card. That looks very loving and welcoming and peaceful. She is, and as we are, becoming more conscious and more loving and more compassionate. I know it sometimes doesn't seem that way in this world, but I know things are shifting. I feel myself shifting. I hope you feel some shifts. You know, any time that I can stand in peace and truth and love, then I know we're going to be okay. Goodness prevails. My children are sick of hearing me say that, but I go by that. Compassion is not passive. It is actively opening the heart through the awareness of the oneness and the interdependence of all things, including creatures, nature, even the inanimate world. At our very core essence, we exist as pure unconditional love, realizing empathy and concern for others. Sometimes we do react and act out. We are fully human, but we are fully divine, and compassion is the embodiment of our higher consciousness. Now, compassionate Pele becomes an example and guide for those who are intentionally remembering their soul essence. The hearts created from this, again, we've got hearts, we've got spirals. And as we expand in consciousness, as we raise that consciousness, we realize a hope for humanity. So let this card be a reminder to walk the path of peace and compassion. Now, this is important. Know that your words are powerful, actions are powerful. Know that every thought, word, and action have an effect on the whole and touches the spirit of everyone. That's why prayer works, but unfortunately we can get negative. So let's remember, and I relax into the opening of my compassionate presence, my simple awareness. I enter life authentically and compassionately with faith and compassion. I shine the peace of Christ into the world. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. Well, I'm going to close with this beautiful poem by John O'Donohue, but again, I'm going to list, and I didn't make a slide for it, but the gifts of fire: purification, forgiveness, regeneration, transcendence, transformation, raising consciousness. The responsibilities: service, excellence, I put forgiveness here too, courage, and compassion. And honestly, it was hard to even try to separate them. You all may argue with me. These words could go either way. They're both service, and they're both, our responsibilities and our gifts. Our gifts. If you think about it in unity, our 12 powers, they are gifts to us, but we've got to use them and use them in the right way. You can underuse them and you can overdo it. But if we are aligned with our divine nature, we begin to really open in how powerful they are and how they transform our lives. So I'm going to close with John O'Donohue's poem. I've only got the beginning of it here, and once again, Zoomers, I will email y'all these poems. They are really wonderful. Let us praise the grace and risk of fire. In the beginning, the word was red, and the sound was thunder. And the wound in the unseen spilled forth the red weather of being. In the name of the fire, the flame, and the light, praise the pure presence of fire that burns from within without thought of time. The hunger of fire has no need for the reliquary of the future. It adores the eros of now, where the memory of the earth in flames that lick and drink the air is made to release. Its long enduring forms in a powder of ashes left for the wind to decipher. As air intensifies the hunger of fire, may the thought of death breathe new urgency into our love of life. As fire cleanses dross, may the flame of passion burn away what is false. As short as the time from spark to flame, so brief may the distance be between heart and being. May we discover beneath our fear embers of anger to kindle justice. May courage cause our lives to flame in the name of the fire and the flame and the light. That was really fun. a lot to deal with fire. I hope you've been fired up. But let us now come to a time of meditation. I breathe deeply into this moment. One with all it is. Slow your breath. Feel that rhythm coursing through you. Feel the animating vitality of the power of life. Catch fire and spread warmth and energy throughout. I feel the sparks of imagination and creativity, but I use them with wisdom and understanding so that I see things rightly and take right action. The courage to act transforms me. I feel the flames of transformation in my heart center. I feel a fire of purification. Let the blue flames burn the cover of anger or resentment or self-righteous stories. I lift up old stuff for purification and step forward into a brand new day. I'm filled with wisdom and understanding and peace with grace. I've become aware of the patterns and the beliefs and the wounds and the stories and the memories and the preferences that I've been holding on to. With this energy of fire in my belly, purifying in my heart, I am willing to release. I am the power of release that unties the knots in my heart, my mind, and my body. Ooh, feel the burning, feel the untying. Without forgiveness, I cannot feel the warm and radiant rays of the cosmic flow of divine love. In a willing state, I choose peace. I choose forgiveness. And I allow the release. And I commit to self-forgiveness and forgiveness. I just simply feel you sinking down into a return to love, unconditional love, the embrace of spirit. As the fires of transformation and purification burn through me, my heart is open and expanding like the spirals in the cards. I relax into the opening of my compassionate presence. I enter life authentically and compassionately. I am whole in body, mind, and spirit. With faith and compassion, we shine the peace of the Christ into the world. Let's take a moment for silence as we, with fascination, fascination. Listen to the roar of the fire. Look at the flame. As we come back into this room, I'm going to share one more song with you, and you can stay kind of in a semi-meditative state. I think you'll enjoy this. This is another song that Beverly sent. It's Light the Candle, Illuminate My Heart. My son last night, I swear at 9 o'clock, sent me the most incredible series of photos of a sunset that flamed and burned the sky. So I said, oh my God, I've got to use this. Now, here's the thing about fire. You know, we kindle the fire and maybe we get a wonderful bonfire going, but fire's like an event. It burns things up, and then it returns to embers and ashes. And it's sort of like it returns material to the most basic thing, carbon. and so the first slide is going to be of a bonfire going from the beginning to the end. And then I've got Mish's slides going from the beginning of the sunset to the end. So I hope you enjoy this. It's really fun to do.